Now, I'm just gonna jump right into this video. Um, I want to talk about mental health in the Black community and how therapy has affected my life. So, I've been in therapy for the past, I want to say, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in September, and I started going to therapy September 2017, and it was right after, a little while after, um, I had an accident. I was in an accident, broke my clavicle, like I was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And that accident is what inspired me to go to therapy because I remember sitting in the hospital bed by myself, and you just like, yo, I could have died. It's just straight like you just having the, you just having those moments, and I'm just like, yo, I could have died, and I was just like, yo, something's just like, yo, you need to go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Um, because I'm in this hospital, and I need them to fix me up. And before then, I was so against hospitals. I was so against doctors. I wasn't trying to do none of that shit. And and you know, you start to realize that you're fucking mortal at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We can all, you know, talk about, oh, I'm God, black man is God, black woman is God, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? When some real shit hits you, you know what I'm saying, and you start looking like, yo, you still having a human experience. So part of this human experience, I've decided to go to therapy. And so the past 2 years, up until this point, I've had two therapists. My first therapist I had for about 3 4 months, about from September to November, so 2 months, 2 3 months, and she was cool. The only reason I had to stop going to her was, of course, it was some shit with my insurance, or like at some point, like she wasn't taking my insurance, or like where she was, they weren't taking my insurance anymore, so I had to stop going. And after that, um, I started going again. I started from November to, I'm gonna say, February. I started going back, so it was like maybe a couple of months where I wasn't going, and then I went back, and I found the therapist that I've been with for the past almost year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And she's dope. She's on I consider her like my spiritual moms. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about everything. We talk about, we even build on like just like real deep spiritual metaphysical shit. You know what I'm saying? She's real cool like that. So, but the the benefits for me going to therapy has been, one, I've been able to really unpack all of the fucked up shit that has happened to me from my childhood, and not only unpack it, but you are what they call in therapy. They give you the tools of how to emotionally navigate and deal with these things. So, for example, a situation where when I was young, I was molested, right? And when you have to come to terms with shit like that as an adult, the shit could be like, shit is heavy. You know what I'm saying? And you go through all of these different types of emotions. But before then, when you just dealing, what happens is that you are coping. If not even coping, you just try to act like it doesn't exist, but not realizing that that trauma is playing itself out in your life somehow, some way. You know what I mean? We don't even realize it. It's because you're not dealing with it. And for me, when I first started to address it, it was heavy. Like, like it was like I was going back to that moment of when it happened. Like I could see it, like it was clear as day, and it was like literally like this. Like I remember the day. Like I remember I could see it was a Saturday. You know what I mean? I remember it was daytime. Like I remember like what that person did to me. Like you know what I'm saying? And it's like almost like you're there. You go back to that moment, and you know, in therapy, it allows you to kind of have somebody there supporting you because before then, you know, if you try to tell somebody in your family, you know, especially in the black community, it have this whole thing where when you have children who are molested, they try to hide that shit. They don't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? They just try to sweep the shit under the rug. But, you know, when you have somebody there supporting you and walking you through it, you know what I'm saying? It's huge. And, you know, for me, what my therapist did, she allowed me to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Have a safe space. That's what therapy does. Because, again, within our communities, we lack safe spaces. There's no safe space anywhere. So, what I started to do with the help of therapy, and this happened like in, you know, part of therapy is of course meditation. So one of the things I started to like my method, and this just happened by accident. It wasn't something that my therapist said or she did or she whatever, but this just happened as part of my own healing process. Is that I was meditating one day, and this moment experience that happened to me when I was a kid. My mother used to always work, and so I used to always be at this lady who I consider my grandmother, right? So I will always be there, and I will always look forward to my mother to come and pick me up. So this one particular time, my mother was supposed to come. I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old, maybe six, no older than six, but I was really young. But this memory came back to me. I used to look out the window and wait for my mother to come through in a cab, walk into the building. You could see it because they lived in the front, so you could see everybody coming in and out. And I would always look for my mother to come, and she never showed up, right? But then they get the phone call telling me that she wasn't gonna make it after she told me she was gonna come. So of course I'm crushed. And I think that was the moment where, from that point, where there's this kind of disconnect between me and my mom, even to this day. We don't have the best relationship. Our relationship is really um, complicated. So, um, one day in meditation, I was reliving that experience. But at the end of that, something really crazy happened, right? My present self, me as I am now, appeared in my vision, or in my I don't know what you want to call it, but whatever I was me reminiscing on my past experience, me present appeared in it, and I was in a cab going to the house that my my younger self was at, my child self was at, my 6 year old self was at. Me going to the cab, I was going to, me now was going to pick up my 6 year old self from my grandmother's house, right? This is all going on. So just stay with me because I know it sounds kind of weird, but so I get to the house, and so when I get out the cab, look up, and I see my 6 year old self looking down at me, excited. I go in, I buzz the door, I go upstairs, go in the house, and my 6 year old self runs into my arms, and I pick him up. And so I have a 2 year old. I have a 2 year old son. So the crazy thing is that it was like my 6 year old self was morphing back and forth into between me as the 6 year old and then my son. It was like this, and I'm holding myself in my arms, but the child was morphing between myself at 6 and then my son who's 2. It was crazy, and this kid was like, my 6 year old self was excited, and was happy that, and it was almost like he was expecting me to show up, and that's when it hit me. That's when it was like boom, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's how we do it. Like, we have the potential to heal our past experiences by going back as we are now and being the adult and being the person that our child self needed to protect them, to support them, to whatever. And I started doing that for a lot of different traumatic experiences I had. You know what I mean? And not so much there going back to fix it, but like I said, just being there, because you can't change what happened, but you can go back to that point and talk to that child as you were with your imagination, because I talked about it in the video before that. Our imagination is a powerful tool. You know what I'm saying? If you put yourself back in there, you'll be able to heal yourself. You know what I'm saying? Change the dynamics of that experience. So now it then will somewhat change your present. So my adult self started to show up for my child self in so many different situations. You know what I mean? It was so deep. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, all types of situations I started doing it with. And I started to see the the immediate changes in my life. You know what I'm saying? Especially emotionally. Um, and how I handle situations now, by doing it, by showing up for my inner child, so to speak. Um, so those are one. So that's how just going to therapy has has helped me, um, kind of now, because I think that, because I grew up only child, um, raised by my mother. My mother, she did the best that she could with what she knew, right? But my father wasn't in the picture, and I didn't meet my father until maybe, I want to say it'll be, maybe about 5 years ago. I met my father for the first time. It was the first and the last time that I had met him, right? Because even then, as an adult, he just showed that he just didn't want any part of that type of, I don't want to use the term responsibility, because at that point, I'm an adult, so it's not him taking care of me, but he just, showed that he wanted no part of it. And so, at that point, I left it alone. You know what I'm saying? It's just, what can you do? Can't make somebody want to be in your life. And even that situation, was something that I had to learn to heal. That I had healed through therapy and through that kind of method of, you know, being that adult for me. And I realized also that, you know, um, I'm able to heal that experience, but I had that lack of relationship that I had with my father through my own son. You know what I'm saying? Now, but I'm not gonna get into all the other things, but the fact that I'm able to heal that relationship, that heal that thing within me through the relationship that I have with my son, the bond, the connection that I have with my son, um, and like I said, just therapy has therapy teaches you how, like, because like I said, it's just like for me, I feel like there was a lot of arrested development because there's so many of us single parent. We come from single parent homes, and we have to grow up so fast, right? But in growing up so fast, we're we're looked at as mature, 6, 7, 8, 10. You know, however we look at mature kids, but then we grow up, and then we become adults, and we're still those mature kids. We're not mature adults. You know what I mean? So, there's this kind of, again, like I said, this arrested development. We're stuck somewhere because of, whatever. And like I said, just being in therapy, it's really helped me um, address a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And there were even situations that I had to come to terms with within myself. A lot of fucked up shit that I had done, mistakes that I had made, situations that I could have handled better. Um, Therapy, being in therapy, motivated me to address them. Another thing is that there were, like I said, situations that I wasn't dealing with, that I had, where I may have affected somebody or had done somebody wrong. And when you don't talk about it, you don't deal with it, you just kind of hold this guilt and this kind of shame, and it's this burden that's on you. And then finally, you get to the you get the courage, the you get the courage to speak about it out loud, despite the shame, whatever. And that was something that happened to me, with me. Is a situation where um, I realized, because I was trying to do one thing, and I was just like, okay, me and doing, why is it something not working? Why isn't this thing not working? And I realized that I wasn't addressing past situations. I wasn't being honest with myself and putting it out like, okay, this is what I did. I need to work this out. And once I started opening up about that stuff, start finding forgiveness within myself. You know what I'm saying? Um, I started to realize like how just things was just opening up in my life. Um, so that's another thing that where I was able to address. And you have a lot of black people, you know, that knock therapy and they be like, I don't need therapy, when they really do. you know, I remember this one guy was telling me that, because I was telling him like, like I was like, I'm writing a book, and so in that book I talk about, how, I would definitely motivate young black men and women to go to therapy if they can. And he was like, yeah, but I feel for me, yeah, that's cool, but I feel like God is the way. I said, what do you mean? He was like, well, I feel like I feel like mental illness is a spiritual issue, and only God can fix the mind. I'm like, what? You serious? And he was like, yeah, like anything, any type of emotional, mental, God can fix that. Yeah. So I was just like, really? So I was like, let me ask you something. If you broke your arm, you going to God, you going to church, or you going to the ER? Oh, that's different. That's different, brother. That I was like, how's it different? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. How do you know that, like, people did have issues that can't be addressed? You can't just pray on them. And this is another thing, black people, they think that you could just pray on some shit and it's gonna fix it. No, it's not how it works. Um, there are people who are dealing with some real issues: post traumatic stress, bipolar disorder, depression, um, major depression disorder. Like, it's so many, there's so many things people are dealing with, and praying on it, or just praying on it, is not going to fix that matter. So we need to start. We need to stop that bullshit and telling people that. And I get it, because when you black in America and you have a system that created to destroy you, you know what I'm saying? Why would you trust doctors, or why would you trust anything that's a part of the system? You know what I mean? Look at the Tuskegee experiment. I get it. There's so many different situations where we shouldn't, right? Why we trust, but you know, ultimately, you know what I'm saying? It's just all about finding what works for you, or finding the right therapist that works for you. Let me say that, because I'm not gonna tell anybody to go pray on some shit, and it'll lead them in a more fucked up predicament. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Um, I don't know, like, and even with therapy at this point, um, even if, like, even right now, everything is all good. Everything is cool, actually. It's like, when you think about, like, my life is, I don't want to say my life is great, but it's the first time in a long time I've just been content. You know what I'm saying, with my life and how things are. Um, but even still, I still go to therapy, because now it's like, when we're in therapy now, we talk about, um, we just talk about how, how I'm doing certain things, and how I'm going to do this and do that, and the plans, and it's a totally different now. Now therapy. It went from therapy to life coaching. You know what I'm saying, it went from that to that. And it's funny. I went to therapy. I went one week, and I told her that everything is cool, and she was like, "Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's just therapy is helping." And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, you know what I mean? You get it. Like, when you go to therapy and you really don't have anything to talk about, and you just only want to talk about is what's great happening in your life. That's progress. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, and it's just like, and it's just so sad, because I was thinking about this. Like, there's a topic that's out now, with reparations. Black people getting reparations. Now, they say that to compensate reparations, I think there would be like $17 trillion to compensate those eligible for reparations, right? For slavery specifically, right? But I would not give I wouldn't necessarily give people a check. You know what I mean? That's just me. I would make sure that you will that they will be provided with, the community in itself. You know what I'm saying? We'll be provided with certain, um, with certain um, things like free healthcare, like free education, um, you know, whatever. The best of it though. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just give people money because a lot of people financially illiterate. All they're gonna do is give it right back. You know what I'm saying? So I would use that money to help build our communities as opposed to just giving people a check in. Um, and part of that, what I would do is I would also provide free therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's the biggest issue in our community, like mental illness. Like you see all these people out here. You know what I'm saying? Our people out here in the streets, homeless, struggling, and they might even be homeless. They just, it's just out here. You know what I mean? I remember it was one day I was just at the library, and there was a sister just talking to herself, just talking to herself, and, and I looked over, and I just, my heart went out to her, like, and I just was thinking like, yo, she just needs somebody to listen to her. And that's why I started saying, like, yo, these people are not crazy. You know what I'm saying? They just want somebody to listen to them. They just talking out loud, hoping somebody will respond back. You know what I mean? That's deep. So, um, but yeah, like this. I think that if we can just really address a lot of our inner demons, shames, fears, issues, then we'll be able to move forward. Because I feel like when we dealing with like any type of mental health issues, it's like you have to start line. There's a start line, and then we're already starting like 40 yards behind the start line, while everybody else is starting at the start line. And that's just because we black. Now imagine being black with a mental illness and how far that may set us back. You know what I'm saying? So I think that before we should that's one of the first things we should try to address with our people. And that's why I feel like just offering free like three facilities and something like that. And it doesn't even like I even look at church. Everybody go to church. Everybody telling you to pray. But I wonder why none of these churches out here have offer community, and it's not even like it doesn't even have to be like I said, a therapist, but just some type of forum, some type of meetup where people sit around and they have a safe space to talk about their issues, no matter how deep they are out. Like I go to this, or I used to anyway, but a brother of mine, he has this forum in New York called Mind Sex, and it's not what most people think. It's just kind of like you create like it's just a bunch of young black men and women who come up to a cipher and talk about anything and everything, whatever's on their heart, no matter how crazy, how much fucked up, like no matter, but you have a safe space to talk about it. Nobody judges you. Everybody supports you. Why can't you have all of these fucking churches up and down Fulton Street, up and down Church Avenue, everywhere in Brooklyn, right? And instead, you hear places where churches and these people and they judge you. You know what I mean? As opposed to support you, hold you down, whatever it is that you're going through, no matter how crazy it may be. You know what I'm saying? We need more safe spaces like that where people can just talk about whatever's on their heart, and not be held in contempt for, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it should really be about. So, but I'm not gonna keep y'all. Just wanted to kind of vent and rant about that. But please share your thoughts, your likes, your dislikes, your comments. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I'm learning, like I always say. So, like whatever you got to say, what I'm saying, just put it in the comments. Hit me up. Um, and that's it. Peace.